Community-based land use planning is a joint process between Ontario and First Nations to decide how land and water will be used into the future. First Nations would first decide if they have an interest to do community-based land use planning with Ontario. If they choose to plan, they would form a joint planning team with Ontario. First Nations then collect background information and map traditional knowledge and values. Ontario will share its signs, land, and resource information. Information is the key building block for land use planning. Terms of reference are signed when First Nations and Ontario agree to formally start planning. A draft plan starts to identify areas that are open to sustainable economic development and areas that are dedicated to protection. The draft plan is shared with the public for their comments. First Nations and Ontario then work to finalize the plan. A plan is complete when both Ontario and First Nations have approved the plan. Planning requires a lot of information, discussion, and working together. To help with this, the Ministry of Natural Resources is developing the Far North Land Use Strategy with First Nations. When it is complete, this strategy will contain guidance or advice on matters that are of interest across the Far North. Things like watersheds, routes where animals travel, and all-weather roads.
Well, it's an overarching thing to give support to community-based land use planning. To have the information available for what the communities will need in order for them to finish their or conduct their land use plans. Well, it's important because that will enhance our ability to be able to go on using the land as partly as how we've always used it. But in this case, it would be how we sort out the different laws that we're under. We have to know what those laws are. Then we build our land use strategy based around those. Because the other law that we'll be looking at is what we believe in. You know, that's what we call earth law is what we call that. So that's how why I think it's important to do that.
Well, the Far North Land Use Strategy is a resource. It is sort of like a bank of knowledge that that contains information that is relevant for the Far North, the whole Far North area. It is an information base that First Nations can go to use as they build their community-based land use plans. There's information that's contained in it that shows how caribou move across the land and also where the watersheds are.
Douglas, last summer you and I took part in a really special event. Can you tell me a little bit about what happened that day?
Well, the joint working group hosted a workshop of the elders from across the north. During this time, the elders told us stories and legends about their relationship with the land and how they have always done land use planning in their history. One of the elders, Cameron Ray from North Spirit Lake, told us about how he actively passes on his history, stories, and legends to his children and to his grandchildren. And really, what we are doing here with the Far North Land Use Strategy is the same thing. We're passing on information to the next generations, and that will help them in doing effective community-based land use plans.
I mean, I think it's important that, for all intents and purposes, we're living with other cultures here now in our land. So this is the first time that they've made a real advance in terms of wanting to really work with us. They want to get our thinking and what we believe and we understand about the land, that they want to integrate into how the planning for all of us is done. Incorporate our thinking and our ways of doing it into it. And I think it's important to us that we do that. We work with the government if they're willing to do it.